Over the course of his life, Napoleon fought 70 to 80 battles. Out of those battles, it is known that he had lost about 11. However, that number is actually 12 because of the Great Rabbit Incident. One of the greatest military commanders was bested by fluffy bunnies. This is Napoleon's most humiliating defeat. This happened in 1807 after signing the Treaty of Tilsit. Napoleon's chief of staff, Alexander Berthier, organized a rabbit hunt for Napoleon. Berthier planned vigorously to please Napoleon. However, he wasn't able to organize the rabbits himself. Rabbits were, at the time, the most common game eaten in France, and so sourcing them could be difficult. He arranged 1,000 rabbits to be brought to Napoleon and his entourage. When the rabbits were released, they started running away in fear, and Napoleon and his men shot at them. However, they suddenly hoarded together and started running towards Napoleon and his men. Berthier organized the coachmen into a battalion with whips to make the rabbits scurry. All of them figured that this was just an odd occurrence. However, the rabbits suddenly turned on them again. They flanked the men left and right and gathered at Napoleon's legs, arms, and torso. Napoleon stumbled and realized he couldn't win, so he ran to his carriage and the rabbits followed. They climbed over the carriage and stayed there. Afterward, investigations were conducted to figure out what happened. The men that Berthier had entrusted to find 1,000 rabbits didn't know the difference between wild and tame rabbits. The men brought 1,000 tame rabbits who were not afraid of humans and had not eaten the day before. They ran towards Napoleon and his entourage in search of food.
So let me get this straight. 1,000 rabbits swarmed Napoleon and his men, forcing him to retreat to his carriage, only to find that the person Berthier had commanded to gather the rabbits didn't know the difference between tame and wild rabbits?
Must be what you're thinking right now. However, if you're not naive, you should be thinking, is this true? Or, is there any proof? There is proof, just not very good proof. The Campaigns of Napoleon by David G. Chandler, 1966, has this rabbit tale recorded. However, there is no source, which is common in old history books. And in the memoirs of General Bon Thibault, a general in Napoleon's army, can also serve as a source. But Thibault had a grudge against Berthier. But it was published by his daughter, so